Hello everyone, welcome back to RetroComms. Today we are going to be taking a look at my collection of Sony devices. Now I know what you may be thinking, why not Nokia? Why not HTC? Why not BlackBerry? Why Sony first? And to that, I have two answers. Number one, first and foremost, it is the month of September. Little Bird told me my good friend Phone Collection of Pug has his birthday in September. And since Sony is his favorite OEM, I'll go ahead and post this in his honor. So happy birthday, Phone Collection of Pug. I will link his Instagram and his YouTube down in the description. Check him out. He has a nice little collection, excellent taste in music, and just in general, all around great person. Go check out his channel. Secondly, I am quite a big fan of Sony products. I've used the PlayStation series ever since I could so much as grasp a controller correctly. I use their headsets, their audio equipment. One day might even procure one of their phones to use as a daily. They do make some very interesting products, and I don't see as many of their phones, and sadly haven't gotten as many in my collection, so I figured it's time to show them a little bit of love. Let's get right into it. First off, we have this white T637. It's got a little joystick in the center. These had some type of customizable faceplate, which on this model, they are trying to fall off. I've got them secured in place with a bit of double-sided tape on this device, just because I don't want them flopping around loosely as I'm trying to film. I'm going to pick up this black one to kind of show more of, since its faceplates are held on a bit more securely. It is a T637 as well. Let's look at it. There's a nice large camera lens on the back with a little mirror. I can tell that this phone was designed for mobile photography at the time. So that's another thing about Sony. They make excellent cameras from what I have heard. And that is one of the main features of this phone. And you'll see is a primary focus on several of their feature phones. These two are on singular. Little online button, I guess for sharing the photos. Volume keys. Quick share. Yep, my thought was correct. Dedicated camera button. And this odd proprietary charging port down here. Now, fair warning to other collectors who have these sorts of phones. The chargers that go into this side of the port, or well, I'll show you on this one that takes it as well. I think they're different actually. These chargers, very easy to break. The little conductive pins in there can snap off quite easily, so if you do have this charger, secure it in a way to where the pins are not in danger. Most of them can also charge with another type of connector that will plug in right over here on this side, and those are a lot more durable. But odd tangent about the charging aside, these were the T637s on singular. Next in line is the J220A. Simple little candy bar design, no camera on this one. It's a more basic entry-level device. Got an actual D-pad instead of the joystick present on the T637s. Feels very sturdy in the hand, but definitely a little entry-level device. Next in line, sadly this one doesn't work, but this is the W350i. I've got it in this soft rubber case because the soft touch on the back of this one is badly deteriorating. And I think it even has some sort of cover, little flip type piece that goes over the keypad and contains media controls, as this being one of the Sony Walkman series was heavily centered around music. Which sadly I believe this one lacks a 3.5 millimeter jack. which is kind of silly for a music-based phone. Perhaps they had a headset that would plug in down here at the charging port, but again, like I was saying, that port is not the most durable. But if anyone knows more about these little covers on this series, let me know down in the comments. This is a neat little phone. Sadly, I can't get it to work, but would love to eventually one day get it powered up and learn more about the features with this cover. Let's move down to the next row. To start this row off, we have the Z300A. Neat little circular external display on this one. Of course, with the green Sony Ericsson badging, which I forgot to point out over there on the J220A, but it had it as well. Very compact as far as the width of this device goes, but a bit thick. Let's open it up. Got one of the little foam inserts in this one to protect the screen from wear from the keypad. Let's check out these keys. And something else I would like to point out about Sony devices, they tend to have a dedicated power button, whereas most handsets would power on by holding down the end button. Sony and Nokia were both known to do this. And they are two of the first manufacturers I think of when I think of dedicated power buttons. Now, the earlier Motorola's did that as well, but it became commonplace to use the end button for power pretty early on in terms of cellular. Next up, I've got two Z500As here, one in blue, one in gray. Both are a little bit rough as far as the condition goes. Let's have a look at each of them. We see in the front this nice large camera, which was, like a lot of Sony phones at the time, a major design point. Volume keys over here, dedicated camera key. You can tell after it's been rubbed off a little bit due to the use. Sony Ericsson badge back there. Not sure what this one was for. We open it up. Nice keypad. Rather large screen for its day, and of course that dedicated power button like I was discussing earlier. Again, a little bit rough, a few scuffs and dings, but to be expected with some of these older devices. Next, we'll have a look at the gray one. It's a little bit scratched and scuffed up here on the front. You can see some signs of wear on the battery cover. Sony Ericsson badging like the others, with the same key layout as before, but we'll open it up, take a look at the condition of the screen. And if you'll notice, this one has singular branding down here below the keypad and up front, whereas the blue one just has Sony's QuickShare brand up front, and down here also just says QuickShare. This one might have been an unlocked version or perhaps sold with a different carrier. Also similar going on, I forgot to point it out with these two, similar going on here. The white one is unbranded here, and this black one is on singular for these T637s. Now let's come down to the Z520A. It's much more compact. Not sure what was going on with this little loop here. I guess it's to attach like a lanyard or a charm or some sort of little accessory up there. Smaller external display, but still a very prominent camera on this phone. Again, with singular as the carrier. If you'll notice, all of these are GSM. I don't believe they supplied any CDMA handsets at this time. Don't quote me on that. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Large speaker back here. Let's open it up. Nice keypad, again with the dedicated power buttons. Interesting design all the way around. Not sure what we got going on there. Maybe some type of IR sensor. Volume keys, dedicated camera key. Nothing over here on this side though, and the same proprietary charging. Next we have this lovely Z750A. I did a video on this one earlier on in my channel, but we'll give it a look over again. It carried a similar sort of design language to that Z520 with this upraised portion in the back, but no clip, no hooks, nothing like that going on back here. There's the Sony Ericsson badge there on the back. Got a camera right there, front and center, with that glossy pink finish up top. No visible external display. It might have had some LEDs under here to tell the time. I believe it did, if I recall correctly. Kind of similar to what you would see on like the Moto U9. This one is on AT&T. Let's open it up. Lovely keypad with the pink accents up top around the D-pad and the send and end keys. Another dedicated power button, of course. Sony keeping with their style. Down there. And we go around the sides of the phone, starting at the bottom. There's that proprietary port. We've got the volume keys. We've got what I believe is a dedicated camera key there. But if you'll notice, right over here, we have a memory card slot. Now, notice I say memory card, not SD. No, this was Sony's proprietary format, if I can get this out to show. Which looks a bit different from an SD card. Let me invert this. Hard for me to get the camera to focus on it, but it is indeed a proprietary memory card made specifically for Sony phones of the time. We'll reinsert this once I'm done filming here, as it is quite hard to do with one hand. See if I can get you a better look at it. 2 gigabytes. While not a lot by modern standards, it is definitely quite the amount for the phones of this time. That's a lot of ringtones or a lot of VGA quality pictures that you could store on 2 gigabytes of space. And while even then they valued expandable memory in some of their line of handsets, now they still do. The Sony flagships today still contain SD card slots when many other OEMs have abandoned them. Hence, if I am to upgrade in the near future, Sony is definitely a contender. Which I don't see that coming for quite a while. Me and my trusty S8 Active are still doing great. It still runs quite smoothly for a device its age, and I have experienced little to no problem with this phone. But when the time comes, I think I know which direction I'm leaning. So here's to Sony, the 9 handsets I have in my collection, which hopefully I can increase that number as well. But until then, it's a neat little batch we've got here today. Happy to have all these devices. And this is RetroComs signing off.